click record. Cool. Hey, Cecilia. Hi, guys. Hi, Tobias. Hey, Liz, Jesse, Andrea, Marty, Zion, Josh. What's up? What's up, Debbie? What's up, Sam? Sam, you were here yesterday, so I don't know if some of this is going to be repeat for you. Zion was also here yesterday, and Mark also. Some of you are in both classes, so good for you. Double dose. All right, well, one thing that will for sure be different is that we're going to give feedback on different songs. So that's different. But a couple of things are going to be the same for those of you who were here yesterday because I have a few announcements. Oh, but this will also be different. So I wanted to give a shout out to some of the folks in this class who've been getting placements. So cool. So let's tell you about a very new update. This just in. Gil and Scott wrote a song which just got a request for Younger, which is a TV show, and they just got a license request in just like in the last few minutes. Pavel Rivera had a license for, BCBG Max Mara. He did a license for that brand. And Cass has a placement in a show called Total Bellas. So that's awesome. We helped them with that. And we just worked on a Tommy Hilfiger spot, and we just did 2 other licenses for one for the Highfields for a TV show and one for one of Sonnet's songs for a TV show. So it's been a cool week. And what else is going on? It's just been a huge few months for us. Some of you have already heard me say this, but we've just been doing a bunch of big things. We did a McDonald's spot. We did a spot for Kotex. We did, there's a Barbie movie out. Barbie has a documentary now on Hulu. It's called Tiny Shoulders. There's billboards all around LA for this big doc. And we have a song as the end title to the movie. And we just did a trailer. And the Tommy Hilfiger thing is recent. So that was cool. There's been a lot going on. So I want to update you because sometimes it can just feel very like, nebulous, like what is happening? Are there things happening? And yes, and I know that you guys see us posting sometimes in the group, like about things and licenses that we've gotten and stuff, but it's pretty cool. Not just to see them happening, but it's really cool to see it happening with artists from this class. I'm really, really so proud of everybody and the initiative that everyone is taking and the way that you guys just support each other. And it's very unusual. I took a mindfulness class. I've taken many of them, but I took several of them at UCLA. And there was one particular class where the entire class, one particular one was sort of like on the topic of having joy for other people's success and how just like they've done these like fMRIs where they study people's brains, and it's like a very high level to be able to like have joy for someone else. And I see that going on in this class, and it's sweet and it's unusual. And if you look around the world, it's not something that happens all the time. And I feel like inside this class, whenever someone's posting something that's happening, people are like, that's amazing. Did everybody see Josh Doyle's post yesterday? He just got a national spot. Good on him. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I'm going to do a Q&A with you guys. So I don't know what's going to come up and what you might ask, but I will mention from yesterday that people were asking, how do you feel about artists pitching themselves, and how do you feel about signing an artist, and then would you allow that person to pitch themselves at the same time? And I said, yeah, because I feel like everybody should be their own soldier out there in the world, flying their own flag. Why not? It just creates more great opportunity. And it's, what we're trying to do at Catch the Moon is help artists to fish for themselves. And so, yes, we want to help you with whatever resources we can offer. So if we can introduce you to a supervisor through the class, then great. I want to talk about that actually today, about how a couple artists have just been reaching out directly to those supervisors. And that is really important. You guys should be doing that. And then if we can help you because we're getting searches and we can pitch your song, then that's also great, right? And then we, also get to participate in the commission because we're your licensing agent for that song, or maybe we're your licensing agent totally, and we take that on, and that's also great. But we're happy to just see it work however it works. And even if you were with us, you should be out there pitching your music. I was always doing that. It would be weird for me as an artist to be such an advocate and then say, yeah, but when you work with me, that's it. Like, I just don't agree with that. And I feel like anyone who you work with should want the best for you. And if you're being honest, the only person who thinks about you as much when you wake up every single day is going to be you, or maybe your mom, right? So if you have an agent who is saying like, don't worry, I'll, completely manage your career and make sure every single stone is unturned, it's almost impossible, So I always think, when you wake up every day, like, you've got to be your biggest advocate, and you should be waking up thinking about what other doors you can open for yourself. And so I want to hopefully teach you guys what it is that I do, what are my strategies, so that you can be doing those things every single day and helping each other. So maybe, give yourself a goal and then check in with each other and start to put together like a Google Doc and a spreadsheet and share with each other information that you're finding, because people are so precious about information. But I'm going to tell you the truth. You can't, first of all, on a very sort of spiritual level, nobody can take your destiny from you. It's yours. No one's going to do your work in this world. It's your work. There's never been another you. There never will be. There never was before. Whatever is your work to do in this world, it's yours. I've had many opportunities in my life where sometimes I'll share that opportunity with a songwriter friend of mine. One time there was a song of mine in Legally Blonde 2, and I mentioned it to a friend, and I said, you should reach out to the supervisor. And this is before I had an agency or anything. And I said, the supervisor is Michelle Silverman. And I was like, here's her email address. And they actually moved my song, which was the opening title, to later on in the movie in a montage. And they thought her song was a better fit for it. And a friend of mine said, why would you do that? That's ridiculous. You just took an opportunity away from yourself. And I said, I don't live my life that way. And I can tell you that while that happened, I was so happy for her that she had this opening montage. Let's see what happened after that. Well, Michelle, who was the supervisor, was like so impressed with the fact that I was like trying to help her, right, solve her problem. She's got on to use my songs and other things. She's spoken at my events. I think she'll actually be at the event this summer. You can look her up and see all the things she's worked. She used to be this music supervisor for Prison Break. She's done a million things from TV to movies, millions of things. You can look her up. But I just feel like it never hurts to just add value wherever you can. And just not only, sometimes it's not like even like an equal thing where you give this and something comes back, but just in general, like it just puts so much goodwill in the world, which I just don't think is a bad thing. And chances are, like my friend Yael Mayer, we used to sit together. She is a licensing agent also, and she owns a little label. And 10 years ago, she and I used to sit together and have like office hours, and we'd put our computers next to each other just to keep each other accountable. And we would search for music supervisors and ad agencies, and we would come up with information and we would share it with each other. And we just helped each other. In fact, when I was looking for a producer and we were both doing research, she introduced me to Billy, and I was like, oh, cool. And then I went on to, make 5 records with him. And now he's worked with, I don't know, like upwards of 40 students from this class, because she was generous enough to just say like, oh, what about this guy? And I was like, oh, interesting. And we shared information with each other, and we always do that. And, now years later, who would have think she has her own agency and her own label, and she'll sometimes get searches that I don't get, and she'll put our artists like up for those searches. And we just did a $25,000 spot together. And it's just like, it's just great. Like we need each other. Like this is not something that you should be doing on your own. So I encourage you to make sort of a assignment with yourself. Like every week you want to find 5 new supervisors. So at the end of a month, that's 20 new people, right? And so in the ad world, for sure, you can find 20 new broadcast producers. And then it's about like, are you going to have the gumption to go ahead and send them an email? And are you going to create something that feels like fun and exciting? And I know it's scary to press send. I know that feeling is like, but this is what I used to think to myself. On the other side of that feeling could be my entire career. So am I going to let feeling uncomfortable stop me from potentially having the life that I want to live, getting to be able to do what I love and getting to focus only on things that make me feel alive and making a living and all of those things? Like being uncomfortable is just so, being uncomfortable is just so not something you can avoid in whatever you're going to pursue. You're going to be uncomfortable sometimes. That's okay. And you'll be okay. You'll get through that. And so maybe help each other with that. I would be definitely reaching out to people. On that note, I showed everybody this yesterday, but those of you who are not in the Money and Music class, I want to show you guys this because I thought it was really worth sharing. So Rhea reached out to Brian Vickers, who came to speak in this class. And I hope that you guys are taking full advantage of this course because it's really, really unusual what's happening here, where music supervisors are so lovely and generous and they're coming on and you're getting to sort of have much more of a connection with them than you would if you go to a big, ASCAP Expo and there's 1,000 people there. It's really different than this sort of a setting. And the students in this class are really making a name for themselves. So I wanted you to see. So Rhea reached out to Brian and she sent him an email and she said, "Hi, Brian, hope this finds you well. First of all, your cat on your Facebook page is adorable. Goodness," which by the way is a really great opening. Very personable, sweet. Second of all, L Young says hello. P.S. I'm dying to know how you two know each other. So apparently she was working with someone who knew him. Lastly, thank you so much for your kind review of Kaleidoscope in Catch the Moon's Access course. My production crew was so happy to hear your review, and so was I. She said, "I've taken the liberty to send you 4 songs." Okay, so she sends the songs. I've CC'd Catch the Moon here and included the track descriptions. So then he writes back, "Thanks for reaching out. I know Young because my wife sung at an event and met his manager, so I know him through her and a bunch of mutual friends. I think all 4 of the songs are pretty solid and seem to be well produced. Right now, I don't think I'm working on any project with that sound." And then he goes on to tell her that one of the biggest challenges is that people seem to think, a lot of people pass stuff over that has a bit of a traditional Disney sound, when for trailers, we usually go to a bit of a more non-traditional. We try to stretch the sound a little bit more. So he said, "So yeah, I think these are really solid, but almost too on the nose. The trick for the stuff is to not sound too made for the project, but I could still see it working for ads and TV shows. Let me know if that makes sense." And then I wrote to him and said, "It was so generous of you to write all of this to her. You're an amazing person." And he wrote back and said, "I appreciate that. No problem. Your students are really ahead of the game. And I appreciate that part of it." So I wanted you guys to see that. And that was something he wrote just to me. And it wasn't like he was trying to get brownie points by sharing that with everybody, but he really meant that. And I hear this all the time. Wherever I am, if I'm at a networking event, if I'm hanging out with supervisors, they're like, or even with Billy or Rich Jacks or Adrian or any of the people, producers or music supervisors or even licensing agents will say to me, "I can tell when someone's been in this course because they are helpful and generous and they're there to solve problems." And it makes me feel amazing. So thank you guys for creating that, because that's not necessarily something that I have control over, but I'm so proud and excited that that's the word on the street. So good on you. And again, in life, I tell this to people all the time, but people really have such a hard time with the difference between hobby and business. I said this yesterday to the Money and Music class. I was like, you guys, when artists were first sort of becoming, legends like Michelangelo, he was commissioned to paint the Sistine Chapel. Like he was It was something somebody else wanted him to do, and he did it, right? And he made it beautiful. And so this whole idea that art can only be something that comes when you're sitting by a lakeside and inspiration hits you, that isn't the only way to make art. Art can also be made because somebody else tells you that something that is so beautiful to them would sound like this, or something that would be so beautiful to them for their wedding would be if the song was about this. And so having an inspiration, having a project, you know, over the weekend, we were at a hotel and my kids were turned on the TV and they were watching Toy Story, and the music in that movie is so great. It was like, they were watching the third one, but at the end, they sort of play, they play overtones from some of the songs that were in the other movies. So they play at the end a little piece of When She Loved Me, which was it's a Sarah McLachlan song. I just want to just make sure you're muted because there's some squeaks. And that song is amazing. I don't know if you ever want to go back and listen to the music from Toy Story. That song is really, it's called When Somebody Loved Me. When somebody loved me, everything was beautiful. It's such a pretty song. And then at the end, they play, of course, Randy Newman, because that's his movie. And that song, We Belong Together. My kids were like, Mom, this is the kind of song that you write. I'm like, yeah, these are the kinds of songs that I write. But it's such a good song. And then my nanny was there and she's like, oh, this is the song that we had at my wedding. We danced to We Belong Together. And it's like such a happy song. It's so straightforward. We belong together. I mean, I don't know the last time you heard it, but it's just like, it's just the kind of song that we would talk about in this class, right? And she's like, oh, we danced to it at my wedding. And all of these kids and all their families who watched this movie, this is an emotional song. This is a big song. This song completed this entire trilogy, right? This Toy Story, it was like, there's that song. It's so simple. And he wrote this song because he was asked to. So why should that mean that it's less art, right? It's less artistic. It's less inspired. It's not. It was written with somebody else in mind, other than himself plus somebody else. So we have to continue to do that. And we have to be on a mission to really make people feel heard. And I think that people want to feel heard all along in the process, not just in terms of the work solving problems, but when you're reaching out to people and the intent is that you want them to feel heard. You want them to feel like you get what they're doing and you want to help them solve their problem. You want to send the music that they need, or you don't just want to pitch stuff at them and have them listen to your stuff. You want to bring them in and ask them what they need. And, oh, you don't need this? What do you need? And you know what? Let's say you get an email back from a supervisor and they say, we don't need anything like this, like what Brian said. We actually need stuff that's more like this, this, and this. One thing you could do is refer a friend of yours who has that kind of music. You could respond and say, that's awesome. You know who really does that well? I'm going to include a link here to a friend of mine who's in my class, or a friend of mine who lives in wherever, Nova Scotia. He's got amazing music like that, and I know it's easy to clear, and I don't know, does this solve your problem? And that person might write back and be like, thank you so much. I can't believe that you just completely stuck out to me because you were really about helping me solve my problem versus like only making sure that I would buy the thing that you're selling. Does that make sense? So one of the things that happened in my life, which was like astonishing, is all these people were asking me to be their agent. And I kept saying, I'm not going to be your agent because that's going to cannibalize my career, right? I'm going to start pitching other people. What's going to happen to my career? I'm going to be giving other people opportunities. And it was completely not the case. And I just kept being asked for so long, can you pitch me? Can you pitch me? And finally I was like, of course I'm going to do this. It's just, I'm going to be in the flow in my reality. This is what the universe, it's so clear. So what happens is I start doing it and my career only grew because next thing I knew, people were saying things like, oh my God, you're just so helpful. You're such a good resource. Like, you're just someone I can go to for all of these things. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't have that song. You know who has that song? This person has that song. And a lot of times I'm just constantly trying to connect people or solve people's problems. Like, there have been times where I've met artists or have very good friends of mine who are artists who I don't sign because I know I would love to have their songs, but I feel like somebody else would do a better job. So I'll like introduce them to Secret Road and I'll be like, you're going to love these guys. And then they're like, why would you do that? I had one friend who was like, no, we want to be with you. I'm like, no, because they're going to, for what you're doing, I just want you to be with them. I want you to have that just to have it. And so, you know, what's come as a result? It's like, whenever I need a band, this particular group of artists, they're all amazing. They're like, we'll be your band. Like, you helped us so much. Like, it's just, this is just such a great way to sort of go through your life. A million things that you could never predict are just going to come full circle, and it creates goodwill, and it's all about helping other people solve their problems. So I think some of those things might be good to think about. Also, we recently, it was like a few days ago, did you see the post in our class where one of our students was talking about how they reached out to Hunter Murtagh? Yes. Who posted that, by the way? Somebody type it in the chat. Type it in the chat if you remember. But so Hunter is awesome. He spoke in this class. It wasn't Josh. It was somebody else. Shoot. I'm sorry that like, I even like, I've been talking about it. I should have looked back and been like, was it Sal? Yeah, it was Sal. It was totally Sal. Yep. So Sal, that was awesome that you posted that. And so Hunter is actually somebody who I cold called, because sometimes I cold call people. And you know how I got to him? I was cold calling ad agencies, and one of the ad agencies, I think it was the Martin Agency, which is in Virginia. And the only reason I knew about the Martin Agency is because I saw that the Martin Agency had worked on a bunch of big ads like Walmart and some other things. And so I saw them online in the credits of an ad, and I called the Martin Agency and I spoke to the business affairs department, and I asked her if I could help them with music, because I had stuff that was really easy to clear and sounded a lot like these ad songs. And I made friends with this woman, and she said, you know who you should talk to? We use this guy Hunter. He's like our like, you know, third party music supervisor. You should call him. So I'm like, okay. So then I call him and I'm like, so-and-so referred me to you at the Martin Agency. And he's like, cool. Like, that's his employer. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, he does it for a few agents, but that was like cool. And then we were on the phone for like, you know, I don't know, like an hour. And he told me about like what he'd been going through, and he'd been going through a hard time. And I kind of told him about things in my life that were a little similar. I'm not repeating it just because it might be private, but we had like he was kind of going through like a particular life crisis. And so we talked about that. And then he was like, yeah, you know, your stuff is great. And he works on a lot of like, he was working at that time on K Jewelers, like jewelry spot. And so he's like, write a bunch of stuff that would be good. Like, you know, like you're my best friend kind of thing. And so I told a few of our artists, and then he was like, oh, these are all amazing. So we started this relationship. But that's how that all sort of started. I thought you would find that interesting to hear the whole like process. Anyway, so then he was speaking in the class, and he's a really good guy. And I love that Sal posted that he reached out to him, because this only is happening because of this class. Like it's really unusual that people, you know, reach out to somebody, they have their email, they have this extra leg up because you've been in this class. So people, they kind of feel this sense of trust. You know, they feel like, okay, these guys should know how to clear something. They're probably going to send me something I need. They're probably not going to send me something that's totally not ready. So that's cool. And I love that he wrote back something, you know, really generous, like, I can't use this, but you definitely should be pitching this. It's just nice for you guys to be reminded that we literally like desperately need music. Like when I say like, yeah, whatever, we're looking, like, we're really looking for music, which is why every single time we sit down as a team and think about how are we going to find more music, we just come back to this class. Because every time we get a submission from an artist, even if it's coming from a reputable source and one song on the record is good, we have to educate the people who make the record and be like, okay, so are you in the right mindset to keep writing and writing with like a certain like mentality where you're going to write for projects, or do you just want to write a record once in a while? And it's always like pulling teeth to get people on board. People don't really understand like why they should be writing, you know, with the ideas of like different themes or different kinds of sonic templates and sounds. So it doesn't really work. It usually doesn't work. But what we find is that, I mean, I just read off to you 5 placements that we've done the last few weeks that are from artists in this class. I think that that's amazing. So that's a little bit about what's going on over here. How many of you, just go like this, how many of you are going to be at the Access event in July? Cool, that's awesome. So it's going to be really fun. We have like, right now, we have about 11 music supervisors who are coming, and there might be more as we sort of get closer, but it's going to be super fun. There's a good chunk of you. I don't know exactly, we're sort of trying to figure out exactly the head count, but I think there's about 50 people that are going to have one-on-one sessions with music supervisors. And then the other parts of the time, you're going to get to do a co-write. We're going to break you guys up, and we're going to work on an actual search that will be in real time. So whatever comes up that week, and we'll give you guys feedback. The second day, we have producers coming. So Billy Loeffler's coming. He'll be there the entire day, as well as a few other producers. And so they'll be able to walk around and listen to what you guys have started and give you guys some feedback. And there'll be panel discussions also with music supervisors. We'll get to do some Q&A. We'll also play music, not just one-on-one, but like sort of for the whole room to hear, and people will give feedback. So it'll be kind of like a fun hodgepodge of a lot of stuff, but I'm really looking forward to it. And one of the nights we're all gonna meet up. It won't be like an organized thing, like you don't have to come, but we're gonna pick a place. I think right now it's going to be the W. I think we're going to meet up at the W on Thursday night for drinks after the first day, because there's a really nice big lobby with a cool bar, and there's easy parking, and it's about half a mile from the theater, and you guys can Uber. The theater has a restaurant. It also has a coffee shop. It's a great restaurant, and it's a great coffee shop. It's not just like a random fast food. It's like really good food and really good coffee. And we have these 2 theaters for these 2 days, because it's going to be really fun. All right. So, and we weren't sure if Sonnet was going to be there because she's moving, but she's going to be there. So that's great. So I'll be there. Victoria will be there. Sonnet will be there, plus all these music supervisors, plus Billy Loeffler, plus everybody. Well, all these people. It's going to be great. Okay. Let's look at some feedback. How does that sound? Actually, you know what? Before we do the feedback, let's answer some questions, and then I'll do the feedback. Anybody have anything that they want to ask or say, share, anything that's like annoying, exciting, anything? No?
I do.
What's up, man? You've been doing some good work, helping everybody.
I don't know if I'm helping. I have more questions than I have answers, Kathy. I really do. I've got a ton of those. So first of all, thank you so much. This is just awesome. I mean, the class, you're right. You are just surrounding yourself with just brilliant people. I'm very intimidated every time I come to these things. It's just pretty crazy. So it's really awesome. I had a question for you. I have another session today that I wanted to, it's an interactive thing because I have questions about this stuff as well. I'm actually actively trying to get to the spot where you guys are, where you're just submitting to all these different people. And the focus of today's session is going to be on like ads, like, you know, how to reach out to ad people. So I wanted to just try and like, cause I'm having no success just yet. So I have a problem with that. I just wanted to just really just kind of ask the class and some of the other people, you know, my process, show them my approach that I'm doing. And then maybe people can say, oh, dude, that's the dumbest thing ever, or whatever, right? Just give me some positive feedback on some of the things that I'm trying to do, and maybe even get some feedback from what other people are doing as well. That'd be cool. It would be awesome if you could sit in on that. I know that you're a super busy lady. You know, you're a superhero. You got a cape. You got a million things you're doing. So I totally get it. But if you could sit in on that and maybe like throw in some feedback, that would be just awesome. I would love to have you if you have the time. I know
when are you doing it?
Today, and it's in well, it's what time is it? 6:30 Eastern time, so that's 3:30 your time.
3:30. Send me a message. It's possible. I'm not sure. It's possible. Today's a busy day, and then tonight I'm going to the Hollywood Bowl to see James Taylor. Anybody going? No. But that's awesome. But why don't we talk about it a little bit right now? Just in case I can't make it, because I have to record a podcast in a little bit, and I'm working on a slideshow, which is due tomorrow. Oh my God, I just remembered, because I'm going to be in Portland at the end of June speaking to 1,000 people. And I have to, seriously, like there's like 1,200 people at this event, and I have to turn in the slideshow to the producer. Anyways, let's talk about that right now. No one's going to be at James Taylor. Shocked. Well, not everybody lives in LA, so there you go. Anyway,
yeah,
I'm
in Philly. I don't have the chance to get out there. Sorry about that.
Oh my God. Anyway, I saw him and Carole King at the Troubadour, which seats like 300 people. I saw them in 2007, and the two of them, oh my God, it's just like you just literally have to cry the entire time, because you're like, this is what I was thinking, and you guys might think I'm insane, or you might get it, but I'm going to be totally vulnerable with you and tell you when, and then I'll tell you about the ad agency thing. But when I saw James Taylor and Carole King at the Troubadour, I was thinking about how much courage they both have, because life is hard. There's lots of disappointment and heartbreak and stuff that goes on. And I feel like, and this is true for all musicians, but this was what I was thinking in the moment watching them. It's like, to not only be able to wake up and keep going through heartbreak, but then to make music in the face of struggle or whatever you've been through. It's just, it's so brave, and it's so, there's so much just like, in a way, it's like, there's so much wonder and optimism in that. It's like, I could be really overwhelmed. I could be neutral, or I could sing, which is like the total extreme opposite of like defeated. You know, it feels like I'll just make music, which is the highest, it feels like the highest vibration. So listening to them, and then songs like Up on the Roof, and Caroline in My Mind, I've just listened to these albums through some of the hardest things in my life. And it just, anyway, so I'm really excited. And Shower the People, oh my God, he's like a minister. I actually saw him at the Hollywood Bowl once before, and he's like sitting on a stool with his guitar, and it's just like, who are you? And my friends, we were just talking this morning, they saw Paul Simon this past weekend at the Hollywood Bowl, which we wanted to go to, but my husband got sick and we were gonna go, but it's all good. But I mean, Paul Simon, like I hear him say, I watched a clip of the show, and just when he says like, all right, I'm going to play this next song from the Rhythm of the Saints, and you could just cry just from hearing the title of the record, because how many things in your life did that record get you through? It's just like that record feels like a part of your soul. Like if somebody mentions Joni Mitchell Blue, it feels like a friend. It's like, oh, that's my friend. I know her. I went through the war with her. You know, that's how it feels. So anyways, I love musicians. I feel like musicians are like traveling. I feel like it's like a traveling ministry, like music, because I feel like people go to a concert and it's like prayer. It's like, I don't know. You just go to a U2 concert and you see all those lighters go up and the whole room is like one soul. And this is what people want. People want to connect. And this is what we need to do. And I'm telling you, when you do this in the studio, and you think about these other souls who are going to listen, and you're thinking like, I just want to give people that lift right now. it comes through the speakers. It comes through, you can hear it. You can hear when someone's smiling. You can hear when someone's clapping and laughing. And so with Billy, when we're in the studio, like we just have fun. And we try to not think so much about taking it so seriously, because you can feel it. You can just feel it through the record. So I think it's good to remind ourselves, like, ultimately, we do have that ability to make people feel something. And it's like music to me is like a bridge. Like it bridges what's going on in here that you can't quite process with what's going on in here. And it like flushes it out or helps you feel it, whether it's like sadness or excitement. So, and the last thing I want to say is, in the ad space, I feel like so often artists are like, I don't write that kind of music. I don't write happy songs. I don't write exciting music. I'm like, you don't have any moments in your life that you can think about where you were ready to like rip it open, or you were super excited, or you were just feeling like totally filled with wonder. And like, I mean, come on, like go back to those moments, because everybody is multidimensional. So everyone can reach from that place. So as far as reaching out to ad agencies, thank you for letting me segue to talk about my excitement for tonight's concert. What specifically, Oz, what specifically are you asking? Like, do you want other people to answer that? Is that what you're asking? Like, do you want to know how other people are doing with that? Or do you want to know like how I do that?
Well, I would most certainly love to know how you do it, for sure. And I was going to maybe, share a little bit about like how the process that I'm currently going through now to do that. So, I mean, I was going to show some ideas of what I'm doing. So for example, what I do is, I have a couple of songs right now that we're shopping. One of them is one that I wrote with Tamara in the group. Woohoo! Hopefully she's on board with you as well. That girl's awesome. She's a beast. She's totally a beast. Everybody in this class is a beast, so it's pretty cool, right? So she wrote a great song with me, and we're pitching that. I think I sent it over to you. So if you probably, in the thousands of songs that you listened to in the past 10 minutes, maybe you'll if you get a chance to get around to that one as well. Okay. But so we're submitting like, that particular song over to like sports drinks, because that particular ad is like a sports drinks kind of a thing. It's just great for that. Mm-hmm. And so we created a commercial for it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So we chose a sport drink. It's like Gatorade, but it could be any one of them. We're sending it to the ad agencies for Powerade, and basically what we did was we did a search for all of them, right? All of the different power drinks that are out there. And then we found the ad agencies for those, and then we're reaching out to them. A lot of them we can just send emails to, which is great. But then there's a few of them that I have to call. And I'm having problems with the calling part because I can't reach out to a specific person. And I'm trying to get personal with that. And it's just so hard. So like, those are some of the problems that I'm running into, is like, how do I reach out to the right person? I'm trying to reach in my LinkedIn network to look through there to see who I knew that went to college with me, that knows the person, that knows the janitor of the person that does the car work for the guy that works, that kind of thing. I'm looking for all of those different angles that I possibly can figure out with all of that. And it's just like, it's daunting. So what advice do you have around, first of all, am I even on the mark? I feel like I'm just stupid. So,
my God, you're so eloquent and smart and not stupid. So a few things. One, I think that is incredible effort and all of those things, but I don't think you have to do all of that. I think it's a lot of work to create a advertisement to show the song, but I think that that's so commendable and cool that you took that initiative. But I actually think it could potentially just be like a time suck that you don't need to spend the energy on. Also, it could potentially be hurtful if people think it has been used in an ad, if they for some reason get confused and they're not sure if that is a real advertisement, or I think that they probably don't want it to have been used in a sports drink ad. If they work on sports drinks, they would want, like, if you're reaching out to someone who's doing Dr. Pepper and they're looking for music, they probably don't want to think that your song was ever in another soda ad, because it's like not going to work. Usually they would carve it out that it would be exclusive for that particular kind of product for at least a few months. So that's one thing. But as far as reaching out, I know it sounds insane and crazy, but I'm going to just tell you straight, like, you don't need to know somebody through LinkedIn. chances are, even if you know someone through LinkedIn, if you haven't been like watering those relationships and like helping them move or taking their mom to the hospital or getting their vet appointment, like if you haven't been in those people's lives and you just call up and be like, hey, can you introduce me to so-and-so? They're going to be like, why? Like, we don't have, you know what I mean? Like, that's just people. That's fine. That's just, nobody wants to like use a relationship moment when like it's for someone like they kind of know, but they kind of don't. Like, this just doesn't work that way. I mean, one thing you can do is if you know a few people in your life who like would be on your like phone a friend list, like I would just, before you actually need them, you know, over the next several weeks, once in a while, once a month, once every 3 months, reach out and be like, what's up? Just checking in, like plant the seeds now before you actually need something. I would do that first of all. If there's like a list of people that you'd ask for advice, if there's a list of people you'd want their opinion, there's a list of people you'd want in your life to like listen to your music, you know, check in with them before you need something. That might be another thing too. Like just give to them for a little while. And then maybe once you do need something, it then makes more sense. Maybe, oh, by the way, did you maybe, you know, okay, but that's on the side. As far as what I would always do is I would just reach out to people cold. And the reason that I was actually able to do it without being scared, and I still do it, I have to do it all the time. Like every day I have to do it for something different, you know. Some days this week, it's all about the podcast and reaching out to a bunch of like famous people, authors, celebrities, actors, sometimes it's who you name it. And I have to reach out and be like, do you want to be on my podcast? Right. So I'm having to do that. And I'm still reaching out to music supervisors like all the time. You know, we're planning this big event. So I wanted to have a bunch of people there. So I'm reaching out to some people that I know and then some people I don't know, like, hey, so you want to make the person feel good. You want to make the person feel like you are calling them because you care about what they have to say. You think they're smart. You admire their work and you're reaching out to them. And so you're happy to let them know that. And then the main reason you're calling is to figure out what they need. That's the main reason you're calling. So you're calling to basically ask them how you can help. That's really why you're calling. So instead of calling to pitch, instead of emailing to pitch, you're emailing to ask for how you can help. So when you send someone an email, you're saying something like, you know, hey, Cathy, I've just been loving your YouTube videos and your podcasts, and I know that you teach courses and you have this licensing agency, and I want to be one of those artists that can be there in your wheelhouse to generate the music that you need. And so I looked at sort of what you were doing, and here's a song that's easy to clear, that's really good for ads. But what else do you need? How else could I help? What would be something that I can do that, you know, lets you know that I'm serious and that I want to help you? Like, what are the problems that you need solving? And those are not the emails that I usually get. I usually get emails that look like they've been copy and pasted, and I just delete them. I don't even read them. I just look at them and delete them. I don't even read it. Sometimes I get emails that are just, well, the majority of the emails I get are really impersonal. And it's like, hi, my name is Dan. I'm an artist. I've done this and this and this and this and this, and here's my record, and I think you should listen to it, and goodbye. And I'm like, not going to listen to it because it's like talking to a wall, right? So those I don't listen to. And then sometimes I get emails. This is like 30% of the time. Hi, my name is Dan and I write music and I've done this, and I've done this and I'm this and I'm this and I'm this. Could I send you music? So now it's like two hurdles. It's like they're just talking at me and then asking me if they can send me music. So I have to write an email to tell them that they can send me another email that I don't want them to have. You know, it's like, that's fascinating. So I find that like, what? And then once in a while, people send me emails where they're just extreme. You know who's really good at this? You know, Angela Parrish, she's in the other class and she's great. So when she sends me an email, it's like really funny and personable and kind of like out of the box and chatty. And she'll be like, I feel like I'm making a fool of myself because I really admire you and I know you're really busy. I just ate an entire thing of peanut butter. have you done that before? Anyways, like she'll just, you know, and then she'll be like, I know that you said I heard a video or I watched this or I, you know, and the equivalent to this for an ad person would be, I know that you're working on Pepsi or whatever, this, and this. And so I thought about that. And these are a few of the songs that I've written that are super easy to clear that would really work for that. And one of them is called Today's the Day. And the other one's called, you know, We Can Conquer It or whatever, you know, like you have your themes. And then you say like, I know you're inundated, and you say something like that's human, you know, like, what did you do for Memorial Day? I went with my brother to fish and I got poison oak, which was ridiculous. So we took a picture for Instagram to make it look perfect, but I had the worst weekend ever. Like, make the email connect, like be a human, like stick the human part in that email, like make sure that humanness gets put in that email. That really works because people are like, oh, a person, there's a person in there. You know what I used to tell Sonnet to do when she was starting with me and I was giving her advice? I'm like, all right, we got to look for something that's real about you. We got to look for the human part. I was like, oh, you just got engaged. So she had just gotten engaged when she started working for me. I'm like, actually, I think she got engaged a few weeks in, but whatever, right around there. So I go, okay, every music supervisor you email this week, I want you to tell them, hey, Mary, I just got engaged. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm sending you some music, but before I pop off, have any marriage advice for me? I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Feeling really overwhelmed and excited, but here's our beautiful picture that we posted on Facebook. I told her to send that to everyone, and she's like, Kath, she's like, my email's blowing up. Like, everyone's giving me marriage advice. I'm like, right, because nobody sends an email like that. Nobody. So people love to give advice. People love to tell you what's good and bad about life. Sometimes another thing that I used to do is because I take trips to meet with ad agencies. So I've gone to Minnesota. My kids are like, my oldest is 6. She's already been to Minnesota, Chicago, Boston, Miami. So like I take them with me. So they've like seen all these fun places. So when I go to a town to meet with an ad agency, you know, I'll try to meet with everybody. So I'll email these people I don't know. Hey, I'm going to be in Minneapolis, blah, 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 blah. By the way, where should I visit while I'm there? What's the best restaurant? What's the best this? What's the best that? And people were like, oh, my city? Well, now we're talking. You want to know about my city? I'm going to talk about my city. People just like give you like great advice. One time I actually emailed people because I was like, that really worked. And I wasn't taking a trip. So I was like, I need to use this when I'm not taking a trip. And we actually, my husband and I just bought this beautiful house, which I'm sitting in the living room, the dining room right now. Anyways, but before we bought this house, we were thinking about like, do we spend millions of dollars on a house in LA or do we move out of the state? And so we were contemplating. So I was like, oh, I'm going to use that. So every supervisor that I emailed, I'm like, I'm on my quest for like, you know, the perfect place to raise my family and home. And I want to live like in a cool town that's got good restaurants, but also has a little culture. Where do you live? Like, where you live, do you love it and why? And oh my God, people wrote me back like, move to Nashville. It's the best. You have to move to Seattle. You don't understand. Oh my gosh, you should move to Maine because we have this. And I was like, oh my God. And it was actually so much fun. And I was telling my husband, I was like, I want to take a trip around the country and go to all these places. Atlanta was really cool all of a sudden. Savannah, Georgia. I wanted to go to South Carolina. My husband works for Fox Sports. So I start looking up all the teams. I mean, I actually, by the way, this shows you how crazy I am. This is true. Ask my husband. I started emailing all of the pro sports teams in all of the cities that I wanted to go to because I was trying to get him a job. He's like, it doesn't work that way. I'm like, yes, he's a lawyer. So I'm like, it works that way with everything. So he's like, okay. So I emailed the general counsel of every team, major team, NBA, NBA, NFL, in every city that I was interested in moving to. And he had a phone interview with the Mets. He talked to the owner of the Atlanta Braves. He talked to the owner of the Heat. He was like, what the hell? I was like, I just sent emails. So I'm not even joking. Like for sure, I could probably right now, like totally blow your minds and pull up an email from the Atlanta Braves because like, that's just one person. You know why? because the guy's his last name is Heller. So I remember his name is Greg Heller, right? Oh my God, you're going to die. I'm going to show you this. Okay. Look at this shit. Look at this shit. Oh my God. Do you guys want to see this? Do you want to see how crazy I am? Okay.
Yes. Why not? That's
right.
Awesome.
Because what I'm showing you is that I can network in any field, because it's just about being a person. I'm just going to show you this letter to the Atlanta Braves. Okay. Because this totally proves my point. I didn't know we were going here today, but let's go. Please don't email Greg Heller, because you're going to see his email address, because that would be so lame. Because why would you need to email the Atlanta Braves, right? You don't. But just this really proves my point, okay? Look at this. Oh my God. I can't believe I'm showing you this. I'm such a weirdo. All right, look. Okay. All right. So first of all, wait, let me move my screen. Okay. So I'm emailing this guy. You guys see this? I go, hey, Greg, like I know him. I don't know him. I hope it's a beautiful day in Atlanta. I'm writing on behalf of my husband and a wish for our family. My husband is currently vice president of business and legal affairs at Fox Sports. He's been there for 12 years. He'd love to work for the Braves. We have 3 little girls. Our oldest is going to start kindergarten next fall. We feel like Atlanta is a far better place than Los Angeles. I love it. It has a great Jewish community. Among other things, I went to Florida State and really enjoyed the warmth of the people who live down south. I want to raise my kids in a town with better priorities. It just so happens that my grandmother, may she rest in peace, was the biggest Atlanta Braves fan you ever did meet. If she's able to plead our case in heaven, I know this would be her first choice. Attached is my husband's resume. Let me know if you want to speak to him. And then I put a picture of my kids. This is before I had the baby. So I just had these 2 cutie pies. So he writes back, really sorry for the delay in responding. We don't have any openings at this time. Best student film will keep my eyes open and ears for other opportunities in Atlanta. So then I wound up telling my husband, he wrote back, you should get on the phone and call him. And he called him, and they had this like amazing conversation. And he was like, you know, we don't have anything open right now, but why don't you come down? We should talk. And my husband's like, are you insane? Like, this doesn't happen. Like, the people don't. Like, he's like, I hire a headhunter, and then that person calls, you know, somebody at CBS, and then this. I'm like, well, why does it have to go through HR? It could just go through me. This is the point I'm trying to make. It's just humans. You're a person, and they're a person. Now, be people. But that's not what people do. It's like, I'm a person and they're a person. Now I'm going to send words, and it's going to die. Do you know what I'm saying? So once in a while, people send me emails, and they're just like, actually, every day in my DMs on Instagram, I get emails from people, all kinds of people, songwriters. Sometimes I get emails from people who listen to the podcast, and they DM me the story of their life. They're like, all right, I can't believe I'm writing you this, but here's what's going on with me, blah, 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 blah. And like, I'm having a hard time with this. And do you know what? I write them back. Every single person. Every single person. People ask me questions like, how do I get clarity? I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Should I quit my job? Should I do this full time? And I'm like, every person. Every person. The music emails I get in my email most of the time, they may as well not send it. Like, the carbon footprint that's being wasted on those emails is so massive. And this is what's happening. And it fatigues everybody. It's exhausting. So when you send an email to a person and you're like, hey, and tell them colorful things about yourself, things that are not about the work, just stuff. And then ask them things about what they need and make it personable. Like, I feel like I always try to throw in there just something personable. Like that email, like that's, that was like intense, because I'm like, we want to move. And I felt like, that's just, I threw in the kitchen sink. I was like, my grandmother was a big Atlanta Braves fan, which she was, because she moved from New York to Florida in the 80s, and Florida didn't have the Marlins yet. So she became a Braves fan. So I like threw that in. I threw in a picture of my kids and all of that stuff. I don't always do that, but I do always send a really personable email. And I will say things like, hey, John, my name's Cathy. I've got 3 kids, and when I'm not, listening to the Frozen soundtrack, I write music, I own an agency, and I love what you guys are about. And I'm wondering how I can help. And I'm thinking maybe these are 3 ways I could help. And then I specify, I can send you music that's easy to clear. I could send you music that da-da-da-da. Does that serve your need? Is that a waste of your time? Do you really need this instead of that? And I make it clear, what's the call to action? Don't ever end an email so if you need it, here it is. Or let me know. It's not clear. Do you need this? Should I send you more of that? Is your problem more this than this? Sometimes even sort of asking that helps them realize oh, they actually know something about what I'm doing. Is it that you need things that are easy to clear, or is it that you're looking for things that are more instrumental? Is it that you're looking for things like this? Because I want to be there to help. So how can I help? Is this making sense?
Absolutely. That's perfect. Thank you so much. I mean, we always seem to think that, for you, it's easy because, you're Cathy Heller and Oprah calls you for advice. And so it's really simple.
No, she doesn't call me. I don't know her. Don't know her. Maybe one day.
That broke it down to our level, which is great. So thank you so much. That is
just be a person and ask people, when you're writing to them, throw in it could even just be one line, let's say the person lives in Memphis and you reach out and then you say something about what's the best barbecue sauce, or person lives in New Orleans and you ask them where the best place is to get a beignet because you're going to go there, or because your friend lives there, or I don't know, you just make it human. Just make it human. Right now, I'm going to eat a strawberry because I'm human and I'm hungry. What else? Who else has a question? Ernest.
Okay. All right.
Did you say you have a question?
Unmute.
Oh, no. Was I right? Do you have a question or no? I just unmuted.
Unmute. There we go. All right. So here's my question. So it's actually kind of 2 questions. So I'm going to the event in the summer. I'm looking forward to meeting you and seeing all of you guys. But the question is, well, first of all, I don't know if I'm in a one-on-one session with a supervisor or not. And the second is, if I am, I'm coming from a place where I'm still in the process of learning how to produce material that sounds current and how to get a current sound as opposed to a more retro sound, or whatever you want to say, or recordings that I made a long time ago with a subpar sound library. So the question is, do you go ahead and present this stuff even though it's not really ready? Are you making a bad first impression and hurting yourself, or are you willing to put it out there and say, okay, well, I know this isn't where it needs to be, but what do you think? And am I on the right track? And you know what I'm saying? Do you take those rough first steps and go ahead and just to get something going, or do you hold off?
Okay, good answer. Good question. So 2 answers. One is, those of you who got the access class in January and got it before the bonus expired, you got the event with a one-on-one session, and we have a list of who those people are. Mm-hmm. Then there were a few seats left for people who didn't get the bonus in time or didn't come into the class during that. And some people did get a bonus, and then there were other people who paid who didn't get a bonus because they didn't pay the same or whatever it was. And Victoria and Sonnet have a list, so I will know. Do you know, did you get it during the bonus?
Well, I unfortunately registered about 13 hours after the bonus.
Oh, no.
Yeah, which is really upsetting.
Okay, wait. Well, email them, because here's what we're doing, just so you know. There might be the light at the end of that tunnel, because, okay, a few things. A, whoever comes to the event is going to have this time to be in this 2-day thing, which is going to be awesome, and they're going to be there. and it's not going to be 1,000 people. There's probably going to be like 85 to 100 artists, because we have 100 seats and we're trying to figure out who's coming and who isn't. Right now it looks like it's full, but those seats don't usually get full. So that's one thing. You'll get to connect with a room full of amazing people during panels and all that stuff. But also we're trying to figure out exactly who is coming, because if there is room, we're going to try to give more people one-on-one sessions. So that's why we want, by Friday, if you got the bonus and you didn't pay for the event because you kind of got it as a bonus to the course when you registered, please make sure you send an email by Friday letting us know that you are definitely coming, and then you have to come. Because if you don't come and you say you're coming, you're like taking a spot from somebody else, which is just like soul crushing. So all you have to do is send an email. You get these whole 2 days. It was a bonus because you got the class in the right time. Just let us know by tomorrow in an email, I am coming or I'm not coming. That's fine. The second thing is, if you paid for the event, you have to let us know. Oh no, it's the opposite. If you paid for the event, you have to let us know by tomorrow. If you didn't pay for the event, we were telling people that you should give a $100 deposit, which we will give you back at the end of the event. But we want you to give a $100 deposit, because sometimes when people don't pay, this is what it was. If people don't pay for things, sometimes they decide last minute not to come. Mm-hmm. So what we're going to do is we're going to give you back the $100. It's going to be yours. It's just a way for you to let us know that you're coming. So you need to PayPal $100, and then you'll get the $100 back. Literally, like, we'll just PayPal it back to you or give it back to you, however you pay for it, after the event. So $100 needs to be in by Monday if you didn't pay, because that lets us know you're coming, and you will get the $100 back. We will not take it from you. And those of you who did pay, since you paid, most likely you're coming, just let us know by tomorrow. Once those two things come in on Monday, we'll know exactly who's coming and who's not, and then we will know who can have a one-on-one session. But we're booking so many supervisors in the hopes that we will have extra people. So you have till Monday to pay this $100 fee, which holds your seat, which you get back. You get back the $100, but you have to pay it so that we know that you're coming. Because if you don't want to pay it, that means you're not coming, which is fine. Then just let us know, I'm not coming, and then we will be able to give that seat to somebody who really wants it. And if you did pay, let us know by tomorrow if you're coming. And then we'll know by Monday what the list looks like. We'll give as many people one-on-ones as we can. And for those who don't get one-on-ones, what we are going to do is panels. So if you don't have a one-on-one time with a music supervisor, we're going to have 2 different panels, maybe even 3. I think there's going to be 2. There's going to be 2 panels the first day, and then there's going to be another one the second day. So there's going to be still time for you to hear from them, just like we do in the class. And we're going to play some songs through a speaker, and some people will get feedback that way. So we're going to try to do as much as we can. And me and Sonnet Victoria and Billy Leffler and other people are going to be walking around while you guys are in co-writes to give you guys feedback. So there's a lot of feedback going on. So I would be, excited to come no matter what. And then the answer to your question is, those of you who are going to sit down and have a one-on-one, we were going to send an email and tell you this so that you're really clear. But if you're going to have, let's say, like, everybody's going to have, not 5 minutes, but more like 8 or 10 minutes, right? So if you're only going to have like 8-ish minutes, you have enough time to play a song and to ask a couple questions. What I would do if I had that much time is I would play half a song, like a verse and a chorus, which is like a minute or a minute and a half. And then I would have my questions already prepared, and I would write them out, type them out. So not using that time sort of flustered. I would type them and I would slide them across the table and show the supervisor, like, these are my 3 questions, and here's a minute and a half of my song, or here's a minute and a half of 2 songs and another question, or whatever. I would have it pre-planned ahead of time so that you get the most out of that time. As far as the quality of production, what you were saying as far as demo and this and that, I feel like it depends on what your goal is. Like, if your goal is that you're sitting across from Janet Lopez, who's going to be there, and you want her to use this song for one of her shows. She works at Neophonic, which is one where Amanda Craig Thomas works. They do a lot of big stuff. Like, you would want to play her something that's totally produced if you're hoping that this is like a moment where you're basically getting to pitch or something. If you don't feel like that's really where you're at, but what you really are looking for is feedback, then it doesn't matter what you play. You can play anything, and you can just ask them, you know, based on what you're hearing, is this going in the right direction? Is this the kind of thing that you need? If it's not the kind of thing that you need, do you need something different? And if so, what is that? And by the way, I feel like unless I knew I feel like there's background noise and I can't figure out where it's coming from. If somebody's not muted and I can hear you. Anyways, it went away. So I think that if it was me, I would definitely just play stuff that I thought was perfect for this person. And if I didn't have it, I think this is how I would do my one-on-one session. I would sit down and first say, like, you know, tell them my name and ask them, like, you know, who are you? What do you work on? And you'll already know because we'll have like announced that. But then I would sort of want to be inquisitive. Like, what do you guys need? What are you looking for? And then if their needs were in line with what I was doing, I'd be like, cool. So I want to play you this song, because they might tell me something and I might go, oh my God, I do have a song for that, but it's not the one I was going to play. Right? Like, you might have been all ready to play this one song and you're like, you know, actually this song is better for TV and this song is better for an ad, because Gabe McDonough is going to be there, and Gabe works on ads, but then, and he used to work at Leo Burnett, and now we just did Chico's with them, which I showed the class yesterday. I can show you guys too, but it was a $75,000 spot. And do you guys want to see the check? Is that exciting? You're like, why not? I showed it yesterday because I just deposited it. So Gabe works on really big ads, right? So I don't know if it's gonna, why does it move like that? Can you see? Here. Anyways, so that was just on the 30th of May. That was very recent. Anyways, or the 13th. In any case, what was I going to say? Okay, so if I was going to sit down with an ad person, I would play them in my own catalog a different song than if I was going to sit down with a TV person or a film person. So I would want to, yes, Gabe is a really nice guy. He was at one of our other events, and he's great. He's the reason why I've had a few McDonald's placements, and he's just cool. Anyway, so you want to know who you're talking to, and then you want to play them stuff. And I guess one of the best things that you can do at that time is to make a personal connection with that person. So I guess I want you to think of it more like holistically, not just like, I just want to play this person as much music as I possibly can. It's like, that might not actually get you the best result. Like, what if those songs are not necessarily what they want? What if the songs are not even ready? Maybe the best thing you can do is, like, you both love a certain sports team and you bonded over it, and you're really sweet and they're nice and they're like, you know what, this was fun. Let me know, like, hit me up. Here's my email, or keep me posted. So just, I would manage the time that way. They absolutely can give you feedback on demos, because they can tell you, this is not the kind of lyric that we would use, or production wise, this is really going in a good direction, but here's what you need more of. So you can get a lot out of sharing a demo with them. I think you just have to think about, like, what your goal is. The answer about, is it still possible to sign up, is I think that we are going to start a waiting list. There might be a few seats left. That's why we're going to know by Monday much more. But if you want to come to the event, you should email Victoria and say, I want to come to the event, and put that in the subject line, and then tell her to let you know as soon as we know what's going on. It is going to be like the access class on steroids, because it's going to be like you know, one day there's 11 supervisors coming. The next day there's like a bunch of other producers. So it's going to be like meeting probably 15 people who could really help you, plus all these co-writes, plus we'll be pitching things on, you know, live. We'll be working on stuff for a pitch. It's going to be really fun. Okay. I want to give you guys this feedback on these songs real fast, and then we'll sort of wrap up and see if anyone else has any other questions. Where did here it is. I'm like, where are the notes? Okay. So Mikey Myers, love Mikey and Ashley. Mikey's been doing such a good job for such a long time, totally standing out. So Mikey and Ashley wrote this song, and I'm going to put it in the chat. Hang on. This is a good song. So this song is called All in It Together, which is a great idea for a song, something that I knew I wanted to hear right away when I read the title. Really great job. The energy is great. The lyrical theme is great. The repetitive lyrics make it really good for ads, but it could also be for TV. There's an awesome use of like creating different sections here. I love that the tempo changes in the bridge. We would love to pitch this song. Mikey and Ashley, are you on this call right now? Are you on this call? That's crazy. I don't even know if they're here. It's called All in This Together. All right, well, somebody tell them. Well, we'll tell them. I got to tell Victoria and Sonnet. Hang on, let me text them to post it in the class because can someone tell Mikey that you want to pitch that song? He's not in the it's like getting an award and you're not there to accept it. Okay, great job, guys. Frederick, the song is called Resolved by Contemplation. I'm gonna put it in here. Okay. It's really pretty. It's a really pretty emotional track. Definitely on the right, it's going in the right place. I think it'd be good to pitch for film. It needs a little more variation and changes in the dynamics to carry the track and create movement in the emotion, especially because there's no lyrics. So it helps with storytelling to just work on changing that a little bit more, but it's beautiful. I think think about cinematically. Again, I want you guys really to keep thinking about how to help these editors do their job. So when they're going to edit a song in, they need that song to just keep shifting because the scene and the picture is going to keep moving, right? You're not looking at a postcard, which is just one image and a song plays underneath. You're going to watch a person sort of like go through something, or you're going to watch some sort of like scene where something's happening and this person's on a boat, or this person is writing a letter on a train, and they're evolving in their thoughts. So I want you to, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I would just keep thinking about how you can make the track feel like it's growing or changing or shifting as the person or as the film or as the trailer is shifting. But it's really beautiful. And I would love to hear it when you kind of work on it a little more. But it's very pretty and it's really emotional. It's nice. Mark's song is called Life is What You Make It, which is a great title. I agree. Where's my notes? Okay. It's a great lyrical theme about better days. I would think about production-wise, making it sound a little more current. I think we just need, there's like ways of freshening that up. I think sometimes you can even do it like with the vocals. And I talk to people about this all the time. Like, I think sometimes even like a Randy Newman song, which is not like, I wouldn't call his music current, even though it is. So it's like, what makes it current? Well, the way he sings it, it's kind of like, he's very, he's kind of chatty, the way he sings. It's kind of conversational, which makes it kind of feel cool. And there's a way that I'm just thinking about him because I mentioned his song 20 minutes ago. But his songs are mixed in a way that even though it's like old school, kind of like real instrumentation, it's mixed in a way where it's got this like finish on it, and it sounds like a little like it's just got a little bit of a modern flair to sort of this like straight up piano sax like situation. And I think it would be interesting to think about like how to think about making it like making the vocals just mix a little cooler with the production, and maybe adding a few current sounds in the production. I've heard so many tracks where I'm like, oh, like I remember when I first heard Amy Winehouse, and I was like, I don't know, I'm sure everybody thought this, or maybe it was just me, but I'm sure everybody thought this, where I was like, is this an old song? No, it's a new song. You know, when you first heard her record, you're like, what era is this from? Like, it was hard to tell, right? And sometimes I hear that with like a CeeLo song. I'm like, oh, it's CeeLo. That's weird, you know, because it sounds like it was created like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, whatever. So I feel like we need to sometimes just like think about, you know, how to make those changes. And this is where I would sometimes maybe like have other people listen, just, you know, the lyrics and the melody, it's all there. I would just think about production. I think the build is really nice. I like how the dynamic changes in the bridge. The next song is called Here in My Heart, and Tobias wrote this song. I'm gonna put it right here. Okay, the songwriting is great. Really good job creating different sections. I would listen to the vocals and maybe mix them a little better or tighten them a little bit more. Just give it like another pass. Again, I would also think here the production just needs to sound more fresh, more current. I love the quirkiness. You did a great job of making it a sweet song without it sounding cheesy. That's so hard to do, and you did it. Think about who in this class is a great producer who can listen and just like throw in ideas and maybe make this sound a little more fresh and current, but the songwriting is great. Kate Mills, the song is called What Did You Think? And I just posted it. Great job. I love this genre blend with the folk and the rock, lots of distinct sections throughout the song. The songwriting is great. It does a great job of telling a story without being too wordy. We'd love to pitch this song. Kate, are you here? Yes, you are. What's up? Wait, I just unmuted you and then you unmuted.
Hi, I'm here.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm extra excited that you like that song because I've been struggling so much on blending like artist world with sync world.
I really think you did a great job. It feels like it's not easy to tell. I want everyone to hear it because it's not easy to tell a story without being too wordy, and that's hard for songwriters because when you're a songwriter type and you're like going to co-writes and you're in that like Nashville writer mind, it is hard to figure that out, but you did it really well. And then production wise, it has like distinct sections, and you blended this like folkiness with this rock. So you did a great job.
My love genre, folk rock.
It's great. It's great. Awesome job. Congrats.
Thanks. I'm so excited. And I will be at the conference in July. So I'm so excited to be in person.
That's going to be so fun. I'm excited. That's great. Well, great work.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Marty's song. Marty Keith. This song is called Try. Let me put this in here. This is such a beautiful song. The lyrics are beautiful. They do a great job telling a story with emotion. The vocals are super clear. They sound a little loud over the production. I think we would love to have this song in our catalog. Can you just adjust the volume of the vocals to mix it with the production a little bit and then send it to Victoria? Could you do that? Are you here? Is Marty here? We belong together. I don't know. I can't tell. Not everybody's faces are on here. Some people are like here, but not. All right. So, oh, he left to teach. All right. Let me tell her. 1 second. You can. 1 second. Now people are like, I gotta be on these things. Marty left the Zoom to let him know about the song. Okay. Okay, a few more. Kate Hardley, you're the only one. I'm gonna put this in here. So I'm gonna kind of go through these quicker because I realize it's 1:22 and I have a meeting in 8 minutes. Very pretty song, great storytelling in the lyrics. Track stays in the same place, a little too long. I would add more variation and build. Again, it's really important for sync that the song just keeps changing. Production, instrumentation is beautiful. You're definitely on the right track. I think this could be great for film and TV. Send it to us, add a little more to it. I just think it needs to not stay in the same place as long in terms of sync stuff, but I think it's good. Jump Out of the Box by Sherry Lynn. Sorry guys, I'm like going faster through these because I have to do something. I love the vibe and the energy, super fun, very ad friendly, great repetitive lyrics in the chorus. The production sounds a little bit busy on the chorus. Instrumental section at the end is a little too long. I would shorten it and bring in the vocal section at the end sooner. So work on that a little bit, but great vibe, great energy, super fun, very ad friendly. Anna and Alex wrote a song called Lavender and Daisies. I'm gonna post it right here. Beautiful lyrics. The vocals need to be mixed a little better with the production. The production needs more dynamics and variation also, just more ebbs and flows. The vocals get lost in the mix in the last 30 seconds when the production builds at that point. I think it's on the right track for ads and TV though, so I would keep working on it. And Keith's song, I Can See Clearly Now, it's a cover. I just put it right there. Great job putting your own twist on a well-known song. It sounds a little dated, so I would try incorporating more elements just production-wise. Really good job creating something different. I think there's a nice dynamic shift in the second half of the song. You're definitely on the right track. I just want the production to be a little bit more current, but it is beautiful, and I think it's cool that you made something that everybody knows. Just sort of like, it's good. Like, it's really good. It's cool. And it's hard to take something that's that well known and make it your own, and you totally did. I just think production wise, we got to make it sound a little more like current. Go ahead. Do you want to say something?
Thank you for that, Cathy. Appreciate that. And that was the kind of feedback I wanted to get, whether it was sounding current enough. So
yeah, I appreciate it. Great job. And the thing is, like, I hope I'm really transparent. Like, I've never produced a track of my own. I think it's amazing that people can do all of these things. Like, you guys run circles around me. Like, I write music and I sing and I write lyrics, and that's it. I don't even play on my own tracks. I don't play my own piano. You know, I have studio musicians who play piano for me, guitar for me, drums for me. I don't mix anything. I don't record anything. I don't have a Pro Tools rig in my house. I write lyrics, I sit and write a melody, I sing songs, and sometimes I don't even sing the song. Sometimes I have another singer sing the song. So I think it's incredible that so many of you can do like all of these things. You're like triple threats, quadruple threats, sometimes, you know, cinco threats. But at the same time, I would be like, why take it all on every time? You know, maybe start it, or maybe go this far with it and then co-produce it with somebody, bring somebody else's ears in. I personally, in everything I do, whether it's like my music, my course, my agency, the podcast, I'm looking always to have people on my team because it helps me be better. It helps me be stronger. I can't even imagine how I would be doing all of these things right now. And not because there's a lot to do. It's just because, like, you know, that's why my kids need me and my husband. Like, he brings something that I can't see. It's just, there's another part, I just can't see it. And my husband's super quiet and he's really introverted. And someone's like, you know, when you pick your mate, often, not every time, but somebody told us, like, often you're picking somebody who has like complementary skills that you don't have, and you don't realize you're doing that. And so just yesterday, somebody came up to my husband and I and said to my husband, your wife is one of the most, she said something really nice about how I like speak. Oh, when she talks, everybody listens. And he's like, and I don't say a word, you know, like, and he's like, I knew when I married her, like, she speaks enough for both of us. And he's so quiet. Like, he's such an introvert. So I think he subconsciously was like, that would be helpful along my journey to have somebody who likes to talk, because I don't, and she'll talk enough for the two of us, and that will be helpful. And I feel like with me, he's very grounded, so that helps me. And I think writing with like Kyler, when I write with Kyler, she's like, she writes all this sad music and I don't. So somehow when we write a happy song together, it just sounds better, because it has like one, like she'll always throw in like a sixth, you know, like she won't do like the 1 4 5 1. She'll do 1 4 5, then she'll add the 6, or she'll add some harmony that you don't know where it quite is, but all of a sudden you just feel a little melancholy, and then you go back to the brightness, and it makes the song so much better. Those little subtle changes round it out. And so I'm sometimes thinking like, you know, or with Adrienne, sometimes if Adrienne is producing something I wrote, she's just so fierce, and she's, you know, she has a shaved head and tattoos everywhere, and she's so bold, and she's so, we at the same time we're like really similar, but she adds so much of this strength that sometimes I don't have. And so it makes the sound different. It changes it. It gives it something else. There's a fearlessness in it, and she pushes me in a good way. So I feel like I would think about how important that is. And I think the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. So I would encourage you guys, like, get feedback from each other, co-write, even if you're like, well, what's the point? I can write it myself. I can produce it myself, because it adds something. It's just going to add extra flavors. You know, a friend of mine is African-American, and he married my other friend she's from Italy, and she's pregnant, and they're having a baby in July. And I'm like, you're going to have the most beautiful child, because the gene pools are they're coming from such different parts of the world. And it's just going to add this like spicy, cool element that it's just going to, I know, because I was at their wedding, and his brother married a woman who's a different nationality, and the kids are like, I mean, and it's a thing. Everybody talks about his nieces. They're just stunning. I've never seen eyes like that or skin color like that. I don't even know what they are. They're like out of a Disney movie. So there's just stuff that happens. And I really encourage all of you. This isn't about Keith. This is about everybody. I'm talking to everybody. This is just for all of us to keep connect with each other, play things for each other, all of those things. And yes, she's in the rescues. Yeah, she's in the rescues. And they're amazing. And yeah, Kyler and I have written like upwards of 100 songs together. We wrote, We're Good Together, Let Your Color Shine, I'll Be By Your Side, Gonna Be Happy, You're Home to Me. I mean, I don't know, so many songs. And I think I introduced her to Billy, and then she's been working with him ever since. So that was fun. Anyways, I hope you guys had fun today. I had fun. I'm glad that it's always exciting. Like, we don't know what we're going to talk about exactly, but fun things happen and we learn a lot. I'm right now copying the entire chat. I'm going to paste it somewhere just so I can look back and read it in case there were like questions that need to be answered. Oh, look at the cutie. You guys seeing Celia Rose screen? So cute. All right, guys. Well, so we covered outreach. We covered a lot of feedback. We talked about the event in July. And we talked about continuing to have that empathy and solve problems. And we also talked about how amazing this class is and how many good things are happening. So really, like, every time you see that happen, that is a reminder that this is totally doable. Keep going, keep creating. And it's crazy, but this used to not happen. Like, I taught the first year of Six Figure Songwriting, that's what it was called 2 years ago. We were barely like signing songs, but now it feels like every single time we do a chat like this, we listen to songs, we're like 3 of them or 4, which is a lot. So we wouldn't say it. We would not say it if we didn't mean it. So it's good. It's all going in an amazing direction. We really are looking for more songs. We want more songs. The supervisors are there to support you. Remember, when you're feeling frustrated, those 2 really nice responses, one from Brian and one from Hunter. Just remember, on the other end of the computer right now, there's like hundreds, if not thousands, of music people looking for songs. And you probably are someone who could brighten their day because you truly care. You're different than everybody else. You want to make their lives easier. And maybe you'll talk to them about their city or something sweet, and it'll just be like just like a moment where they can like just have a nice human chat with somebody. So think about that. I'd love to hear your progress on that. So maybe you guys can keep me updated. Maybe you can post in the group and tag me and let me know if you take a step forward and reach out to anybody. I think it's also encouraging for other people to see. But Friday is tomorrow is June 1st. So I guess next month almost, I'm going to see most of you, or a lot of you, at the Hudson Theater, which is going to be super fun. So that's going to be great. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend, and we'll talk soon.